All right, we are live. Sorry for the delay. Thank you everyone for your patience. Had to shut down the entire machine. Just wasn't making sense. All right, let's do the introductions as if they are needed. You know who I am, Angry Old Hoops, and you know Mr. Energy himself, Sports and Fitness Rants. Thanks for joining again.
Of course. Everybody, what's up, man? Once again, sorry for the delay, guys. We had some technical difficulties, but the dynamic duo is here for you guys, man. That's right, my man Angry O Hoops, Sports and Fitness Rants. You guys know the deal. Turn that volume all the way up and let's roll.
We have a special guest joining us this week and going to reveal that in just a minute. So I'll go ahead and go down the line of topics that I have in mind for this week. I have to make the screen really big for my old eyes. Okay, so we're going to talk about cocaine. I have cocaine on my list. And I want to ask, is Brunson doing exactly what we, the old guys, have been hoping to see when we talk about thinking that things will turn around, that there's hope for the future? I caught a little bit of FYF and Dart talking this weekend, and FYF is proving my point about why these meaningless stats that LeBron James is accumulating work in that camp's favor. The Olympic trials are painful to listen to. They sound like NBA games right now. Isn't it a miracle how Jordan was blessed with the best of everybody during his career? And apparently Jalen Brown isn't allowed to have an opinion based on his actual honest thoughts, which is bringing us to Bronny. Look, I don't want to talk about Bronny for very long. I'm going to cap us at like 5 minutes. The thing with Bronny is it's not just his bad play. I could leave that alone. I don't think too many people are surprised, but I have a problem with the effort being made by certain parties to pretend like that's not the reality. Like, I'm scrolling through YouTube and I see Bleacher Report saying Bronny has a layup package. And apparently he made a layup. So I looked at the highlight and he makes a layup. He has a package. He has a layup package. He made a layup, and this is worth Bleacher Report. Apparently another Clutch Sports member reporting on. But what is happening? I've heard different people talk about LeBron's power. And even people in his camp, they talk about his power and his influence. What does that actually mean? I mean, we're not talking about the mafia, but when they talk about LeBron James, it sounds like we're talking about the mafia. Like, you're afraid to do things. Apparently a grown man can't look at something that he's watching and express his honest opinion about what he saw. We'll cap it, but do you have anything that you want to say about that really quick?
Well, listen, I mean, as far as, LeBron James and his influence on the NBA, money talks. And I think that's what it all comes down to, man. And once again, it comes down to that word integrity. What do you stand on? These people stand on nothing. So once again, when you're talking about LeBron James and you're talking about all the manipulation that's been going on throughout the years, it all falls back to the money. Well, I remember watching that movie Rush Hour. And in the movie Rush Hour, Chris Tucker talks to Jackie Chan. He tells him, "You follow the rich white man, right? You follow the money, and the money will lead you to where you need to go." And that's what this is all about. It's all about the money. So all the manipulation, all these people bending over backwards and doing all these weird things, saying all this weird stuff that you're talking about, these broadcast booths. It's all about the money for these people. And that's why I say they have no integrity. They're not standing on anything. All they care about is how much money they can get from LeBron James. And we all know LeBron James' pockets are very, very, very deep, man. Deeper than probably just about everybody in the NBA. So I think that's what it all comes down to, the money. And that's what it is. That's the influence.
But Jalen Brown's pockets are deep. How much money do these guys need? But also explain to me exactly, how does LeBron James cause Jalen Brown not to get more money? Is he
Yeah,
gonna?
this is, I'm sorry, I didn't cut you off, AOH.
No, no, no. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I don't know the exact details. I've just been hearing some of this stuff on YouTube myself. I heard Kwame Brown doing some stuff about Jalen Brown and basically calling him out for backtracking on his statements. See, once again, it's integrity. Where's your integrity at? How come these guys don't stand on anything, man? On YouTube, on our channels, I tell people all the time, man, you stand on what you believe in, and you must stand firm on these things. I don't know why Jalen Brown would feel the need to backtrack, but I'm assuming once again, they're scared of LeBron James crazy fans. These people are out there, they're weird, they're making death threats against YouTubers. So who knows what Jalen Brown is feeling or what really is going on in his mind? Because I don't understand. I was actually thinking about talking about this myself because when I heard that he started to backtrack on his comments and he put a tweet out, I guess, or something like that, and made it seem as if LeBron James having his son in the NBA is a major flex. I think that was the wording he used, major flex. I don't see any flex in this. But that's a great question, AOH. I don't know why Jalen Brown would feel the need to backtrack those statements because what he said is the facts. It's what a lot of people are saying. So you're right. I don't know why he would backtrack on those comments other than what I said. You're not standing on any of your integrity, man. Where's these guys' backbones at?
And so many times we look, it's not like Jalen Brown said, Bronny is a piece of trash and he's screwing all these whores and things like that. He said he doesn't look like he's ready for the NBA. I mean, what do these fans have to be making death threats about? They need this illusion so badly. Like we talked about it on Sunday. It's like a religion where they don't want anyone to show them why it's absurd to believe in it. I don't know why they need to hold on to this so tightly, but I mean, but I think I hope we're stretching it there. I'm hoping that Jalen Brown's life isn't in danger for saying something LeBron didn't like, which would bring us back to the money. And could his career actually be shortened? Is our NBA teams going to blackball him because LeBron James doesn't like something? LeBron James doesn't own the NBA, or does he?
Listen, AOH, man, you just brought up a great point, man, because I was just about to say, this goes back onto Adam Silver also. Where the hell is Adam Silver, man? He's supposed to be the commissioner, right, of the NBA. He's supposed to be in charge of all of this stuff, man. He's supposed to be the one holding the standard. The standard has been lowered for LeBron James. We all know this. All across the board, the standard has gone down for LeBron James, and Adam Silver is a big problem behind this. So once again, like you just said, is LeBron James running the NBA? It seems like he is because at the end of the day, all we keep hearing is the NBA is a business. These guys are not necessarily there for winning or necessarily there to compete. They want to keep telling us how much the NBA is a business now. And apparently LeBron James, like I said, has all the money. He's the one controlling the business, which I don't really understand because the product of the NBA has gone downhill since LeBron James has been doing all this nonsensical stuff. So all this stuff is very confusing to me. Like I said, I just heard about the Jalen Brown thing earlier today, and I was confused as to why he would backtrack on those statements because once again, he didn't say anything outlandish that wasn't accurate. But once again, we all know that LeBron James and his fans, the people around him, the media, the guys like Rich Paul, you probably heard Rich Paul say that he was literally telling teams, if you draft Bronny James, you must give him a guaranteed deal. That's what they're literally trying to strong arm everybody out here. So I don't know if these guys have dirt on people that we don't know about. Maybe they dug up the skeletons in some of these guys' closets, you know what I'm saying? And are holding these things against them. We don't know, but this is really weird, man. It's getting really weird.
Well, what's the worst that they could dig up? I mean, are we talking about murdering people, or are we talking about a racial slur somewhere back in history? Which, by the way, is just about the same level as murdering somebody, apparently. I mean, these people's lives are over with.
Yo, it's crazy, man. Like, even just put someone like me and you, if we make content and people or the LeBron James fans, let's say, don't agree with what we're saying and they think that we're hating on LeBron James, all of a sudden they'll flood your comment section. And I have a simple rule on my channel. You know, sometimes people will say, oh, this guy, Sports and Fitness Rants, he can't take anything. He'll block you off his channel. And I have one rule I tell these people. You can leave all the comments you want on my channel. You can leave 1,000 comments. You can tell me I'm this. You can tell me I'm that. But once you start going after the subscribers on my channel in the comment section, commenting on other people's comments, trying to bully people in my comment section, that's where I draw the line. And that's when I tell people to hit the bricks. So this is the problem for these people, man. They just look. I mean, you'll make a video, I'll have 10, 15 comments from one person on the same video. It's insane to me. Why not take all of those thoughts, put it into one comment, and be done with it? No, because the emotions of these people, and I think that's where people get worried, because emotions take over for the LeBron James fans. They're not grown-ups. They're definitely not grown men, because everything is a reaction off the emotion that they feel when they see something or they read something.
Let's talk about the word flex, because I thought that people sometimes will use that negatively, not necessarily positively. Oh, you're trying to flex. In this case, oh, it's a flex. So now it's positive. But why is that? Why is a show of power that is disrespectful to the game of basketball a good thing? Like Jalen Brown's patting LeBron on the back for being able to pull off something that shouldn't have ever taken place. You don't compliment that. And obviously, if he doesn't think that Bronny belongs there, so you aren't actually proud of LeBron James for doing that, unless all of them don't care about the integrity of the game. And maybe they don't. I mean, they get paid either way. They get paid no matter what. So maybe they don't care. They're like, if you don't punish anybody year after year after year, eventually they're just like, yeah, I don't, whatever. Why should I pay attention to what I say? Why should I be worried about whether people think I have integrity? I'm never punished. Right. But apparently Jalen Brown's going to be punished by LeBron, though. The only time anybody fucking gets scared is the LeBron James Mafia.
You're right. I mean, like I said, this is getting really weird when you talk about the word flex. See, this why. See, now to me, Jalen Brown's part of the problem now. See, and this is why I tell people it's hard to get behind a lot of these players, because they will not stand up against LeBron James or even an Adam Silver and the things that's going around. How many times do you'll hear something like, an anonymous executive said this against LeBron James. They want to be anonymous. No one ever wants to put their name on something against LeBron James because they don't want the backlash. But I think this is a bigger problem. Is I think that a lot of these NBA players really believe that LeBron James is like the most likable person out here in society. And I really believe, but I really hope that if these players would just stand up, we got their back, man. We will ride with these guys, man. If Jalen Brown would have stood on that statement and be like, listen, I'm standing on what I said. I don't believe that Bronny James is NBA ready. There's nothing wrong with that statement. Like you said, he didn't call him a dirtbag or a piece of garbage kid or this and that. He just said, I don't think the kid's NBA ready. And Jalen Brown, who we all know is an NBA player, he would know if a guy's NBA ready, and that's his opinion to say that. So once again, Jalen Brown, you're part of the problem now.
Yeah, lead by example. Show the rest of the world that it's okay to have an opinion. No one's allowed to have an opinion anymore. And it's so hard to separate the NBA from society now. I try not to talk about it because I feel like talking about it constantly, but it's the same thing. It's like now Hollywood is full of fat, ugly people, as long as they represent every color and every version of sexuality that has ever existed. So we're no longer as an audience even allowed to say, oh, I this character is cool because that guy is badass or that girl is hot. No, now I'm judged. I'm like, well, you shouldn't like someone because they're hot. You're being unfair to people who aren't hot. It's fucking Hollywood, man. If you can't look forward to seeing somebody that's better than the rest of us in Hollywood, then we don't have any standards to look forward to anymore. Stop changing for a society that's collapsing.
Yo, listen, AOH, like you said, man, me and you are right there, man. This is why we do this, man, because me and you see eye to eye on a lot of these societal issues that have all of a sudden leaked into professional sports. And that's part of the problem. When we talk about the lack of class, the lack of honor, the integrity, how guys are soft and feminine now, no one has any backbones, no one stands on anything. That goes to the larger societal issue, right? We talked about this years ago, the participation era, right? The participation trophies, they're giving kids trophies just for showing up to the game. This is LeBron James. He gets participation awards, trophies. Oh, LeBron James made it to 10 NBA finals. They never talk about the ones that he lost. He gets the grace, the praise for participating there, right? But Jerry West never got that. Will Chamberlain never got that. All they were talking about, hey, Will Chamberlain never won. Jerry West never won. Well, LeBron James lost more than he won too, man. So let's stop acting like LeBron James and everything that's happened in his career has been all Hollywood and like I said, all been perfect. It's not that way. And I don't understand, once again, why LeBron James or why these other players won't stand up to LeBron James, because the true NBA fans, the true basketball fans will back these guys up, man. I would have backed up Jalen Brown in that statement. But now, once again, look what happens.
For everybody that's watching, I'm going to do something different than last week. I'm going to periodically let people call in the way that a normal radio show would, cut you off. We'll get to the next topic, and then we'll have some callers again instead of making everybody wait until the end. We'll just go back and forth. So if you don't get to say your piece during the first part, well, I'm sorry. We're going to keep moving through topics, but I'll let people at least have a piece somewhat near when we're talking about something. I'm going to at least get into topic number 2 before I have some callers, and that's cocaine. Why am I talking about cocaine? I mean, because my unhinged co-host is clearly doing lines before we get going every day. No, that's not why. When Gilbert Arenas came on the Sunday show a while back, he and FYF, one of them said something ridiculous, and I've heard other people say it, that the guys from the 80s and 90s were cheating because they were powered by cocaine. And I think they were trying to say this in defense of using performance-enhancing drugs. I'm sorry, cocaine is not in the category of a performance-enhancing drug. But the reason I thought about this is some garbage podcast out there actually had Lamar Odom on as a guest. And as these podcasts all start out sucking each other off for 5 minutes and then saying, oh man, you were my favorite player. I wish you had played longer. And Lamar Odom's like, well, I was doing cocaine, so I couldn't, it ended my career. So my point is, which is it? Does cocaine end careers early, or is it the cheat code that got these guys from the 80s and 90s to do what they did? The absurdity of saying that cocaine is a cheat code.
Once again, this is why Gilbert Arenas, I tell you, man, this is why he has no credibility. When he came on that live stream and he continued to ramble on about the drugs and on all these things about these guys, my biggest problem about that statement is that he made it a blanket statement. He was trying to literally label every single player that played in the 80s as a cocaine user. And that's not valid. Were there guys using cocaine? Yeah, I'm absolutely sure there were guys using cocaine, man. There's probably guys using cocaine today in the NBA. Are we really gonna sit there and say that these guys are all clean? I'm sure these guys are smoking weed and they're drinking alcohol and they're doing all kinds of things on the side. Once again, that's their personal business, man. But for Gilbert Arenas to make it seem, and that was my biggest question, he was trying to say that the guys from the 80s were able to play more games and they were able to do all these things because, like you said, they were powered by cocaine. But we all know the reality of drugs and what these drugs will do to you. They will destroy you. They'll tear you down, man. Look at Doc Gooden. Look at guys like Darryl Strawberry. They ruin themselves with drugs.
Maybe I'm clean. I don't know. I don't have any idea what you're talking about.
You've seen the people on drugs, man. And to anybody out there that thinks that I do any kinds of hard drug like that, you people have to be kidding me, man. That's part of what my channel's about. The fitness aspect of my channel. Having the energy. A lot of people lack energy in this world. So what do? They look for energy in a can. They want these energy drinks. They look for energy maybe in drugs. But you're looking for energy in the wrong places, guys. The energy that I have is natural energy. I do nothing on the side or before I come on this camera to be like this. From day one, this is me, man. Ask anybody in my family. It's always the same.
Well, and your fitness adds to that. When you're not in shape, you become lethargic. It's a really destructive cycle. After a while, your body stops trying and you just feel tired all the time, and therefore you don't exercise. And I know you've talked about this on your channel, and I did a response that I never released. You've got to get healthy if you want to have the energy. You got to take that first step. You have to take the first step. If you're down somewhere low right now, do one push-up, do one sit-up, tomorrow do two. Yeah, I mean, if you have to start that low, start there, but the beginning is the key. Anyway, we're not here to talk about fitness. Let me share a link. By the way, I got to tell you, I do listen to Kwame Brown sometimes, and that guy flows. He really can spit it out.
Yeah, Kwame Brown, man. Shout out to Kwame Brown. I know he probably doesn't, know our channels or know who we are, whatever. But yeah, shout out to him because once again, he turned a negative into a positive. People trying to tear him down for years as a bust, and Stephen A. Smith mocking him, and Kwame Brown was able to flip the script, and now he's a respected YouTuber. He's a respected voice in the NBA online community. So when Kwame Brown speaks up against Jalen Brown and calls him out for being soft and all these things, it means something and it holds value. So yeah, shout out to Kwame Brown, man.
I got a message from our surprise guest who is having a little emergency, but is planning on joining in case you guys were wondering. But I've got a cokehead here with me. That's enough for me to handle without a third person. So all right, let's see. E-Man. I think we had E-Man previously. Are you ready? Should we take a caller?
Yeah, let's do it. Whatever you want to do, AOH.
All right. Let's see how this caller goes. E-Man.
Yo, how y'all doing?
Hey.
How
Yo,
y'all
what's
doing?
up, man?
So I had a quick question though. I've been thinking about it for a while. So, when Michael Jordan retired, to play baseball and all that stuff, if his basketball career would have ended like right then and there, would he have still been considered the GOAT, or would it someone like Kareem or something like still be on top today?
Go ahead. You go first.
That's a great question, man. Absolutely. Now I'll say this. If Michael Jordan never came back for that second three-peat, I don't believe he would have been as widely regarded as the greatest of all time. Like, if you ask most people now, 60% of people, 70% of people are going to tell you Michael Jordan's the greatest of all time. But I think if he didn't have that second three-peat, then he might be considered the greatest of all time by a lot of people, but maybe not by most people. So yeah, you're right about that. Maybe Kareem would have been seen as the GOAT, maybe Magic Johnson, maybe Bill Russell, maybe Kobe Bryant. One of these guys may have been seen as the greatest of all time if he didn't have that second three-peat.
I think it would have been a debate. I don't think it would have been as landslided, but I think there would have been enough there for it to be a debate just because of the range of things, because he did enough things that made people's mouths drop. That alone would have made people talk about him. They're like, we've never seen a human being do these things. And in addition to that, he then had these accomplishments. He then had that clutch gene. He had then rounded out his package, etc. But he has enough different things that he would have at least been in the debate. And look how early LeBron James was inserted into the debate before he was even close to 3 titles. So if you can insert somebody in whenever you want to, again, unfortunately, it's a lot about whatever the media wants you to be talking about. They'll put it out there as a topic, and they'll talk about it enough to where we, like sheep, will talk about it too. Thanks, E-Man. Come back on later if you'd like. Let's have one more person. We have
Yo.
Young what? What's it say?
Yo, what's up, man?
Hey, it says Young saying,
What's up? Welcome.
what's up, guys? Hey, AOH, man. I've been subscribed for I was one of your first 300 subscribers. I first saw you I've been for a while. And Sport and Fitness Rants, you came up a little bit after that. At that point, there was this vacuum, obviously, because every media outlet out there is just completely lying about LeBron, saying what they're saying, trying to push this narrative. So when you guys started coming out, there was a huge demand for truth out there. So I hopped on to see you guys pretty early, and I've been a follower for a long time, and I'm super proud of you guys. I'm super proud you guys are actually making videos together, because I think a lot of people always are being selfish with their programs and the fans that they may have. And I really like that you guys are working together. So I couldn't be more proud of you guys for that. So I really congratulate you guys. But as far as the conversation is going, man, I've been playing basketball for years. I've been playing since I was young. I played at college as well. I played high school. I played AAU. I played middle school. Played everything. And I'll be honest with you, when I was growing up, I was this huge LeBron fan, but I was really a victim of of being kind of how you say sold what he was, because he kind of was this new type thing. I was young. I was like 12, when he was coming out, and I actually live in Miami. So when he came down to Miami, it was like, whoa. But now at this point, of course, it's been a while. I've been watching the NBA a while, and I came up on realness, whether I like LeBron or not. Like, he wasn't my first favorite player. My first was Ray Allen. But as far as knowing real basketball, being tough, knowing how to show up for your teammates, what a good teammate looks like, what someone who's rotating on help defense looks like, all of this stuff I was taught, you know, by my coaches, and I wasn't thinking about LeBron during those times. So as I had a different experience with basketball. So even though I was a LeBron fan, it quickly, because I'm just noticing him doing all these things. I mean, let me tell you, I watched the remember that old the West versus East All Star game where Kobe and LeBron were actually playing. You know, I had to rewatch it, and I was like, I think as a when I was a LeBron fan, I put this back in the recesses of my mind. My mind couldn't handle watching Kobe absolutely destroy him, completely make him not even really want to play. I was so disappointed, but I still tried to remain a LeBron fan. You're a kid, you just kind of do shit. But honestly, man, seeing it now, it's just at a horrible, horrible place. I mean, he's completely destroyed the game. He's the nepotistic ideals. He's starting to employ in the American populace now, putting Bronny where he's putting him. I mean, he most of his career is probably a completely fraudulent. I mean, I had to go back and watch stuff that made me a fan. I'm like, yo, was I like sleeping? Was I dreaming? Because I'm not. When I go back and look at it, I'm noticing a lot of things that I feel like I did not notice before.
Well,
And
that's interesting.
yeah,
I mean,
go
we're
ahead.
just humans. You look at the age of people who put Bill Russell as number one. They're older than I am. You look at my age group. Most of us have Jordan. You look at the age group younger than me. They have Kobe, and then they have the age group younger than that has LeBron. And a lot of it has to do with what you're experiencing at that time. Of course, you're influenced by what you're experiencing at that time. And we're probably at the age where we're playing basketball or aspiring to grow up to play basketball or trying to make the team at that time. So of course it's a more special time in your life. And how can you not be influenced by what the media is telling you? But the effort that the media has put into making you think you are who you like, they've really increased on that level. We got a few more callers. I'll do a couple more there, and then we'll get on to the
That
next.
guy said some really good stuff there, man. When he was talking about the YouTubers like me and you uniting and getting together and making content, for me, that was part of me. Like he said, I've been subscribed to you, AOH, and you probably had like 2,000 subscribers, man. I've been subscribed to you for a while. I appreciate the videos, the content you were putting out. And once again, you guys inspired me to make a channel. So that was a big deal for me to reach out to other guys. That's why I reached out to Michael Jordan fans of the best when I did, so that we can all get together, make this content, make these videos. And when he was talking about, how he fell for the stuff, early, all I want is for the LeBron James fans or people that consider themselves supporters or fans of LeBron James is to hold him to the standard. Hold him accountable for his actions. And that's what a lot of people are starting to realize now. Like you were saying, you realize now that a lot of the stuff that is going on behind LeBron James is all narratives and lies. It's not real. So hold these guys to the same standard. For some reason, Michael Jordan's being held to a standard up here, and LeBron James' standard is down here. And that's all I want is for the people who believe that LeBron James is this and that to hold them to that same standard. Because when you do that, then, like you said, you start to realize that all this stuff is smoke screens and mirrors, and he's not as great as people are saying he is, and he's nowhere near Michael Jordan.
I'll say I was old enough. A lot of you guys may or may not know that I cheered against Kobe. So when LeBron was coming in and everybody said that LeBron was this good or that good, and he had that size, I said, okay, so here's someone who could put Kobe in his place. And I was old enough to have an objective eye and realize in real time I was being disappointed. I wasn't seeing that happen. And it sounds like Young Saiyan is looking back and realizing that was happening too, even though he was. And I appreciate what you said. Thank you. And thanks for being a longtime supporter. Man, I got to tell you, I was putting this truth out for what is my channel, 6 years old, and I was alone for a long time. And some of my earlier videos I put more work into than I do now. I'm gonna have to re-release them.
Absolutely.
I'm a little bit bitter that YouTube is suggesting all these clowns with shows now that don't put any work into it. They suggested one to me today that had 7 spelling errors in the title. I'm like, don't suggest these assholes. Come on. You took 5 years for them to suggest my channel to anybody.
Yep.
Honestly, yeah, they were just, I almost felt like they were keeping your numbers down. Like it just felt weird. I don't know. And honestly, let me tell you guys, as someone who fell for the media programming of LeBron James, I understand what it's like to be on the inside. And I understand what it's like to almost create this weird relationship with LeBron that you think exists in your mind. It's very insidious. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's crazy as fuck. Like it's honestly like I gotta tell you, I hated on Kobe so hard for let me tell you, I hated on Kobe so crazy. I'll play my friend in 2K, and he would always use Kobe, and I was like, he would always fuck me up with. I'm like, yo, this guy makes every fucking shot, and I was like, you know what I did, man? I went in, and I was a kid at this time. I was like 11 years old. I went in and I put his sliders down all the way so that he wouldn't make any shots. Right. Let me tell you, I don't know if this was magic. I don't know what the hell, but bro, he still was making shots. I don't know. I don't know how. I don't know why, but he kept making shots anyway. With his sliders at like 14, his shooting's at 14, and he's making shots. I don't know. It was the craziest thing ever.
Crazy.
But honestly, as I grew up, I played this one game. I had one of the greatest games I ever played. I played an AAU tournament. It was 4 games long, and I averaged like a good 28 to 30 each game. And I would say I'm pretty good, for especially at that age. And when I was playing, there came a time where I was the best on the team, and there was a point where it's the last point in the game, and okay, everyone's looking at you to do it, because at the end of the day, like you got them there. You're gonna have to get them over that hump when there's like a minute left, when there's like 30 seconds left. And you know what? I made this one buzzer beater. And again, I told you I was a LeBron fan at this time, but you know who I thought of when I shot that shot? I did not think of LeBron. I thought of Kobe Bryant. I thought of his best fadeaway. I shot a fadeaway, and I thought, like, I never see LeBron. They call it his patented fadeaway. Shut the hell up, dude. LeBron has no type of patented fadeaway. Not even close.
I heard one of the announcers say a spin move was LeBron's patented move. But Young saying, we really appreciate it. Thank you. Call back in later if you want. Our special guest has arrived, so let me welcome in Hoop God.
Hey man, I'm terribly sorry, man.
There he is.
Had an emergency, man. Terribly sorry about the punctuality, man, but I'm glad to be here, man.
Yes.
Well, we've been talking about the mafia, cocaine.
Yeah.
Kwame Brown.
Wow.
Were you able to hear much of the? Let me. Unless you have any personal stories about how cocaine did in fact improve your basketball game, I'm going to move on from that one. But
yeah, I wouldn't have any experience in that department.
Never even seen it before, I'm sure.
Only on TV.
That came up because of the foolishness that FYF and Gilbert Arenas were talking about a few weeks ago. And I caught only a few seconds of Dart and FYF debating whether LeBron or was it Wilt more deserving of GOAT status. Shame on you, Dart, for allowing LeBron to be in that conversation with a legend like that. But no, I get it. It's for the fun of the debate. But FYF did something that I say LeBron fans do all the time, and it's why, and it's why I don't respect accolades such as being named to all NBA teams or even all-star teams anymore, because LeBron's gotten X number of all NBA third teams, which I don't even think he deserved the last couple of years. But what does FYF present? This big list of things. He's been this many times, this many times. So how could he not be? You have this many things. How could he not be? I'm like, hey, a list of crap, no matter how long that list is still a list of crap. I would never choose if that list was a library full of books long, I would still never choose LeBron James over Michael Jordan based on the eye test of who I want to help me win a game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so,
I mean, you're right on the money with that, AOH. Go ahead, who got?
Yes. So his argument is LeBron making the All-NBA third teams, which let's be honest. If you don't make the playoffs, I feel like you should be automatically removed from that discussion. Okay, so 2019, he activates playoff mode, right? Misses the playoffs. How do you make All-NBA third team? But let's go further. 2022, y'all remember this? He got on Twitter and said, y'all talking about my team and blah, blah, blah. Keep that same energy. You missed the playoffs. How are you still making All-NBA third team? Now, I got a better one for you. If he wants to use all of LeBron's empty accolades, what I call hollow stats, well, how come Tim Duncan is not having a conversation for being better? Because watch this. Combine Tim Duncan's all-NBA teams, all defensive teams. He still clears LeBron James. I got a better one.
Wow.
Tim Duncan is the second oldest player to make all-NBA first team, only behind the great Kareem. And Tim Duncan is the oldest player to make an all-defensive team. So why are we not big up in Kareem for the longevity? I mean, not Kareem, but Tim Duncan for the longevity.
You bring
That's
up
my argument. If be consistent.
You bring up an interesting point, because I guess I played into their hands. They talk about LeBron's stats, and I spend time thinking, well, are those stats even that good? And I've forgotten about the fact that they're just not talking about other people's stats that exist. You know, some of the historians and the NBA statisticians that are big on this, like self-researched facts and Hoop God yourself, point out, listen, these guys are telling you about LeBron James's accomplishments, and they don't even beat this guy. But nobody's talking about this guy. Therefore, we're not thinking about that guy. Therefore, we're still thinking about LeBron James.
Yo, you guys are right, man. That's what we were talking about earlier when we're talking about how they try to manipulate and always push the LeBron James agenda. So they won't even pump up the other guys of this era. They won't even pump up the new guys coming up now. They don't care about Victor Wembanyama or none of these new guys coming into the NBA. They're still talking about the Lakers every season. No matter, the Lakers will be in the 10th seed all season long, and all we hear is about LeBron James and the Lakers. And the crazy thing about these third All-NBA teams, these All-NBA third teams, is that they didn't even have the All-NBA third team until like 1987 or something like that. So the first, all those years of NBA's history, it was either the first or second team. That was it. When Michael Jordan came in as a rookie, he made the All-NBA second team. You know why? Because there was no third team. It was either first or second. That's all there was. So if they would have kept that same standard, once again, they've lowered the standard now. If they would have kept the same standard, these third NBA teams that LeBron James is making, like you said, only playing like 50 games, this man was making all NBA teams playing 50 games, 55 games. It's an absolute joke, man.
We're going to have NBA fourth team in a few years. Yeah, I listened to a little bit of Australia versus United States. Mind you, this is just the highlights. And it sounded like Reggie Miller calling the game. It's amazing. You know how they get the voice clipped out because they're just showing the highlights, but the words I'm hearing are, it's amazing what he's doing at this age. Oh, he's still going up and down the court. And I mean, God damn, can you stop? if you want to say you were impressed by this 1 year, fine. I've been hearing this shit for the last 5 years. Stop. And are you gonna say the same thing for the next 3 years? It can't be an interesting topic for 8 fucking years of celebrating what he's been capable of doing at his age. And we're watching the Olympics, man. Give us a break. You guys down for some Hoop God? If I cut you off, I apologize because I think that there's a delay. But you guys feel like taking a caller, or do you want to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to speak on Wilt before you take the caller. So if we're going to use the statistics, right? I've always asked this question. I said, okay, if you're going to tell me about all of these stats, whether it's a cumulative or per game, then why isn't Wilt Chamberlain over LeBron James? He has a 100-point game. He has a season averaging 50 points per game. He clears LeBron in the rebounding department. He clears him in the unofficial blocks department. Wilt Chamberlain has 11 rebounding titles, 7 scoring titles, and an assist title. So if we're going to use the statistical, like we're going to use that blueprint, how come Wilt is not up there? Because it's not adding up. See, that's why I said LeBron fans are inconsistent. When it suits them, they'll say stats. Okay, Wilt's better. Kareem's better. Oh, wait. Well, what about appearances? Okay, well, Bill Russell's better. Magic is better. So my thing is, if whatever method you use, somebody else clears him, because you can't say championships because there's too many players that beats him in that department. So I always ask LeBron fans, which criteria are we using? Because there are multiple players better than him. You know, that's the only question that I have, and it never gets answered.
Yeah.
Facts. That's it. That's why LeBron James fans, the channels, that's why if you argue Michael Jordan versus LeBron James, what do? They bring up Kareem, they bring up Wilt Chamberlain, they bring up Bill Russell. They have to bring up all these guys to argue against Michael Jordan because they know LeBron James' resume don't add up to Michael Jordan. So like you said, they can never stay on topic. If you want to debate Wilt Chamberlain versus LeBron James, then we could do that too. If you want to debate LeBron James versus Kareem Abdul-Jabbar or any of these other guys, we can do that, but they can never stay on topic.
For those of you wanting to call in, doing something different than last week. I'm going to go in and out of taking calls. So don't give up. But we're just going to keep going through the topics, take a few calls, and come back to the topics. Right now, I'm going to bring in Will. And Will, you are on. Will, are you with us?
Damn, I'm ready.
All right, Will. There are 2 Wills in the waiting room. Maybe there's a glitch here. Let's try a different Will. I am trying Will again. Will, is anyone there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can't.
There you. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, sweet. I just want to say that Hoop God, I really appreciate your debate with Nick. I think it was the Kobe Bryant versus Larry Bird. Is that correct?
Larry Bird. Yeah. Yes, sir.
And what I appreciate most about that, it took me back to the old days before LeBron James, where you can have a basketball conversation without putting another player down. So the conversation would go, Nick Bird is this, and that, and I love that about Bird, and Kobe this, and that. I'm going to tell you the great things about my player. And then you, as a basketball fan, will either agree, like, this is, that's true. That's true. I can't really, dispute that, right? That type of debate. We don't get that much anymore.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Yeah. Yeah, no problem.
Yo, that was a great statement, man, that he made about you, Hoop God, and the debate you have with Nick. And I watched that whole debate too, man. You guys were sensational in that debate, man. You guys broke it down for both sides. And this is why our channels are here. This is why we do these collaborations. And this is what we're talking about. We don't want people to be tearing down the past eras with the lies and the narratives. LeBron James appears to be greater to some people because they must tear down the past players with the lies and the narratives. All I've ever asked is for people to debate or argue by standing on the resumes. You must stand on your resume. LeBron James fans, they can't argue LeBron James' resume straight up. This is why they go to the narratives and the lies. So for that caller to appreciate that was great because that's what we do, man. We don't have to tear down players to debate or have a conversation. We let the players' resumes speak for themselves. For some reason, LeBron James is the only superstar where his fans, they can't do that. They must always tear down.
Hoop God, before you joined, I mentioned earlier how people aren't allowed to have honest opinions anymore. We were talking about Jalen Brown and others, and or you're offending people, etc. And it makes me think about Bird and some of the things that we liked about Bird. Man, Bird said what he thought, and we talk about wondering if we can ever get back there again. How can we ever get back there when people aren't even allowed to express their opinions? Like Larry Bird would be in trouble today for going up. Wasn't it Dominique that told the story that Larry Bird said, "Homeboy, you can't guard me. What are they doing? What are they putting you on me for, rookie?" And it's a great story to look back on. But if that was happening today, Twitter be, Larry Bird disrespects Dominique Wilkins, calls him homeboy, blah 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 blah. If we're that goddamn sensitive and apologetic, how can any NBA player out there be the next Larry Bird or lead the way by having some balls or telling the truth or not being afraid to talk some trash? Speam Engine, I see you in the waiting room. I'll bring you in 1 second. After you guys want to respond to that Larry Bird versus modern society.
Go ahead, who got?
Yeah, I'll go after Rodney. Oh, okay. So to answer the question, no, I don't believe it. And here's the reason why. At that time, the NBA was led by a patriarchal system. We no longer have a patriarchal system. So you had to be cut from a cloth where you were either looked at as a wolf or you were looked at as a sheep. And at that time, Larry Bird was the lead alpha of the Wolves. Okay. Yes, Magic Johnson was there and Michael Jordan was on the come up. But Larry Bird in that 3 year, well, I would even say his 4 years of his peak performances, but especially when he won those 3 consecutive MVPs. If I'm the defending champion, I have the MVP. Okay, let me quote Shaq. I have a G14 classification to say whatever the hell I want to say, just to put in so many words. Now, I come back to what I said at first. It was more masculine back then. See, now we got these entitled dudes that want to flop and cry and whine and just overly sensitive. I mean, they're just emotional. Those dudes back then, they had alligator skin. They were thick skinned. Because how did you silence your critics? Hey, if you put this dude on, he can't guard me, I'm going to keep abusing him. I mean, if I'm from the era where if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If you can't stop me, I'm going to keep driving it into the ground. Like, I am not going to let up. Either you're going to overcome it or I'm just going to keep winning. So when Larry Bird went in there and told those guys, hey, which one of you bums is coming in second? Or, hey, man, why you got this dude on me? Like, Dennis Rodman, right? I would consider him one of the greatest defenders of all time. I love Dennis Rodman. Love him because I'm a defensive guy. He would tell Chuck Daly, hey, Chuck, you better get somebody on me. Hey, Chuck, who is this guy on me? Larry Bird already got 28 points in the third quarter. I mean, just cooking Dennis Rodman. So when I see that type of basketball, which I highly value, no, we'll never get back to that because look at the leadership. Adam Silver, he does not put his foot down and makes the players understand there's a hierarchy. No, he makes them feel like they're equal. See, David Stern didn't do that. David Stern would applaud the players, but he would let them know, no, there's a hierarchy here. No, you're not on my level. If I put this out and if you break these rules, you're going to be reprimanded. And I feel like in a society like that, when you establish structure and order, you're going to have better results. But when you have all this chaos and this nonsense and go ahead. That
goddamn delay is fucking us up.
Yeah. Because I didn't know if I was interrupting. But to sum up your point, no, I don't think it'll ever get back to that because they have soft leadership at the top. They don't have a strong-minded patriarchal.
I'm just going to keep talking because I know you're going to politely say, "Oh, wait." If I start cutting you off, I'm just going to finish from now on. Case in point, they don't shut you up with their.
Go ahead.
Case in point, you can't shut people up with their game anymore. With look at Bronny. Now you're being offensive if you criticize Bronny. Leave the kid alone. Oh, he's just a kid. What are you doing? I want him to shut us up with his game. His dad put us in this situation. His dad went on when there was honesty about him not being in the mock draft. LeBron James is the one that made noise about it and made the rest of us talk. What's wrong with him not being in the mock draft if he doesn't fucking belong in the mock draft? Oh, you're picking on this boy. And you know who I didn't mention earlier was Chris Broussard. You got all these people out there showing the footage of how bad Bronny is playing and people talking about how bad Bronny's playing. Guess what Chris Broussard says after pretending like, oh, he's not playing when he says, it doesn't matter. It's the summer league. It doesn't matter. His defense is strong. His defense is strong. When you have to use the word strong instead of great, and the redeeming quality for Bronny was supposed to be his defense, and the best you can say is strong, and other people are showing me he's getting blown by. Fuck you, Chris Broussard, for being a 55-year-old that won't fucking tell the truth. I'm going to let Speed Engine in.
Integrity. Chris Broussard, man, I don't know what's up with that dude, man. These guys are crazy, man.
Speem.
Gentlemen, can you hear me?
Hey, what up, man?
Hey, what up?
Right.
There's no delay for me, is there?
No.
Nah.
Okay, good, because I don't want you like politely cutting me off and shit.
Only rude cutoffs for you.
I'll take it. First off, Hoop God, I want to piggyback off something you said real quick about Adam Silver. He's a product of this era in the sense that parents want to be their kids' friends, just like this dude wants to be friends with everybody in the league. That's just a product of this environment. So I back you 100%. Secondly, I paid $4.99 of my hard-earned money to get this comment off, and I'm going to. It's a super chat, but I'll also say it out loud. I was a Jalen Brown fan up until this whole thing because dude stood on something, you know, in Boston specifically with all the racism that took place, and he did it unapologetically. Someone lip reads what this man says basically in private. Well, what should be private, publicly. And he backtracks on that. And if that's not like the weakest move I've ever seen, but it's up there. And I feel like enough people aren't talking about it.
Yeah. Yo, go ahead, Ioch.
Speem Engine, how long ago did you super chat? Because I don't see it. And this is I'm scrolling through. You guys keep talking.
I saw it in the chat.
Is it on you? So is it?
Oh, I
saw a bunch of super chats in the chat.
God damn it! Why can't I?
They're there.
You write me a check for $5. We'll call it even. And mail it to me. But yeah,
Speed, we were talking about Jalen Brown earlier in the stream, man, and I said the same thing you just said. I said it's hard to get behind someone like a Jalen Brown now. You lose all respect for him because of the backtracking. Stand on what you said. Like you said, it should have never been a public thing. But unfortunately, this is the society we're in. Everyone has cameras. Everyone's on camera. And everyone has an opinion. But Jalen Brown should have stood on his convictions, man. Once again, he didn't say anything out of the ordinary. He didn't say anything that's not true. He spoke his mind, and he was around the money with those things. And for him to backtrack this, like I said, it stinks to high hell, man, and I don't respect it.
I wouldn't be shocked if he signed a clutch within the next 2 or 3 years. I'm dead serious.
Hey, wait, you brought up one time about how LeBron James having his own agency, Clutch Sports and all this stuff, how that manipulation has ruled the NBA. Let's think about Anthony Davis, man, when he requested trade out of New Orleans. That really saved LeBron James in LA. What does LeBron James accomplish in Los Angeles without Anthony Davis? He hasn't accomplished much, but it's even less without Anthony Davis, man.
Yeah, obviously I agree. I'm going to go down a whole nother topic here if I do this, but I was just thinking about how the draft, the NBA knew what they were doing, basing teams on drafts and making people draft players and develop players. The whole jumping around and choosing whoever's already developed and forming these super teams has left fans, or at least some fans, feeling very unsatisfied. And it's led to this cowardly behavior, and the societal shift has led to us not criticizing people for cowardly behavior and even complimenting people for cowardly behavior. But the game itself is suffering. Who are you excited? What matchups are you that excited to see? You don't even know who's going to be on the team the next year, who's going to jump somewhere else. And you know what else we enjoyed? We enjoyed watching the trial by fire. This year you got this close, but you didn't quite make it. This year you got this close and you didn't quite make it. Well, and then finally the next year you achieve it. We're not going to get that anymore because everybody's, oh, I'm going to run over here. Oh, I'm going to run over there. The draft was good and players not having the power was good. I'm sorry if you feel like players are being abused because the teams that drafted them and gave them an opportunity to play in the NBA and play basketball for a living are being abused. You're supposed to play for the team that drafted you and pays you. Damn it. That's not abuse. It's doing your job. I've got a super chat. I finally found one. Those you guys.
Oh, that's nice.
You guys forgive me. I don't
great.
know why these are so hard to find. I'm not ignoring your super chats.
My man Armando Ruiz, man. What's up, man?
Remember the Chappelle haters ball. I've entered that realm of my life. I literally stay up or go out of my way to watch these dudes clown themselves. I remember.
Is that for pro guys? Is that pro LeBron guys or anti LeBron guys?
No. He's on our side.
Oh, okay, good.
Go ahead, take it. Run with it.
That is hilarious. That is hilarious.
So shout out to my man Armando Ruiz. He's been a supporter of my channel. I don't know if he follows your guys' channel too. He probably does because we're all on the same page here, man. But I've made several references to Dave Chappelle's show on my channel as it relates to LeBron James and some of the antics that he's gone throughout his years. We all remember Dave Chappelle's skit when he was like the self-hating racist, right? He was the blind black guy who thought he was white. And that's LeBron James, man, right? This dude will cut off his own nose to spite his face, man. LeBron James, once again, is a narcissistic. Everything is about him, man. He's living in a delusional world. His fans are delusional. It makes no sense, man. But once again, like the big issue here is with a lot of these guys not standing up to LeBron James. And I really believe that's why a lot of our channels are taking off on YouTube. Because like my man Young Sane said earlier, he was brainwashed by the media of LeBron James, the smoke screens and mirrors. He fell for the hype. But all of a sudden now, with YouTubers coming out, making content, right, and speaking the truth, setting the record straight, stopping these guys from tearing down the past errors, all of a sudden now, these guys have opened their eyes. And now we've held these guys to the standard. And that's what's really about now. And I think that's why a lot of these people, that's why I'm partly upset with Jalen Brown, man, not stepping up, because we would have his back.
Speam, did you say everything you wanted to say?
Yeah, I'm going to get off so somebody else can get on, but I want to leave with two thoughts. A, did you fellas see that Bronny stat line for his debut? It was like 22 minutes played, 2 points, 2 rebounds, whatever. But it was structured in a way that made
horrible stat line.
Right, but it's structured in a way that makes it look impressive.
Oh yeah.
And then secondly, what the hell? What's the other thing I was going to say? Speaking of cocaine, shit.
This guy.
What the fuck was I saying? Oh yeah. So LeBron ran over some dude in the Olympics and did the shoulder shrug. I was hoping you saw that at AOH.
Oh no. Oh fuck.
I'll send it to you. Don't worry.
Oh jeez. Robin and Hoop Guy, keep going. I'm looking for some more of these super chats to read.
Go ahead, Hoop Guy.
So this is my thing, right? I'm gonna look at it. I'm gonna look at it from two scopes. Now, nepotism, it has its advantages, it has its disadvantages. Because prime example, if I'm a father and I have a multi-million-dollar organization or whatever the case may be, yeah, of course I'm gonna put my son in that position and use my power. Now, it can also work against me because if you're not trained in that position, if you cannot thrive in that position and you're not prepared, then if you ultimately fall on your face, well, it's not my child's fault. That's my fault because I didn't set you up for success. I was able to get to this level, but if you cannot uphold your end of the bargain, well, I can't blame you. But see, the media now wants us to, oh, you guys are just hating. No. See, what I call the mainstream media, they should change their names to spin masters because LeBron James puts this information out. His son does not live up to it. We give him that he deserves, but now we're calling no. No.
Yeah.
LeBron James
Yeah.
is the one because he was the one tweeting that Bronny James could get minutes on the Lakers. And now we see that that is diametrically opposite of what he tweeted. So, no, we don't want to hear all these excuses now.
Man, even if that was true, how disrespectful to your current teammates. I'm going to bring
Extremely
in SMT.
disrespectful.
SMT, you are on.
What's going on, fellas?
Welcome back.
What's up?
Hey, man, that's a good point. The Lakers fan base has to be pissed right now. Their team's become like a sideshow. It's like a circus over there. In fact, if I was AD, I mean, I'm having buyer's remorse. Like, this is not what I thought was
Exactly.
going to happen. I mean, people say, and by the way, you guys know I'm a Bron fan. All right. But could you imagine how they say that LeBron's years are being wasted? They are insane. The prime years of AD are being wasted.
Thank you.
Yep.
It is an absurdity to say otherwise. Bron is 40 years old. He's done, and there's nothing he could do within the game itself to really matter towards any type of legacy conversation. It's not really relevant anymore because he's not going to win an MVP. He's not going to win a finals MVP. He's not going to go to a finals. There's just so many things he can't do anymore. It's not going to help his cause. People, they have this longevity thing they like to talk about. See, to me, it doesn't really matter because I never even really thought like Kareem was the greatest of all time because of points. I thought Kareem was the greatest. He was in that conversation because of the skill that he was able to collect, not just the statistics, but a lot of winning with it, where he was winning MVPs, where he was blocking 4 shots a game. Like it's just a different outlook on it. I just don't look at LeBron. Like, to me, LeBron's final years where he was like an MVP candidate, I think that's where his sunset was towards any type of GOAT conversation. You know what I'm saying? So to me, this is all just, I call this the dark era for Bron because it's all a bunch of chicanery and buffoonery. It really doesn't impact his legacy per se. What he does with Bronny, what he does with the Lakers, it's all just fodder. It's all just noise, right? So to me, it doesn't matter. But we can evaluate what he did as a player in his 2 stints with the Cavs, with the Miami Heat, maybe his first couple years with the Lakers, but now it's just not that anymore. And there was a point that came up earlier about like Wilt Chamberlain. Somebody brought him up. They were talking about like in the GOAT conversation. They changed the rules for this guy because he was beating the shit out of everybody. You know what I'm saying? And there's something to be said about him and, I think Kareem, where they told them you can't dunk anymore, or it was, they almost made it illegal. It was like viewed as negative to dunk.
It was,
What the, so I'm being punished for being big, and you know what? Not to say that big is the only thing that matters in hoops, because Kobe was kicking Bron's ass in individuals matchups all the time. He was schooling the shit out of him.
Facts.
Kobe's fadeaway was going right over
Facts.
LeBron. Okay, so LeBron's got 40 pounds on him. LeBron's got an inch on him. Pause. But you get what I'm saying? He's a bigger player, and Kobe was still very effective. In fact, he was locking down LeBron. LeBron was taking bad shots. He was settling for bad shots in individual matchups with Kobe. And I was a Cavs fan, and I hated it. It used to bother the shit out of me because Kobe was in his pinnacle offensive skill set era, and LeBron was still coming into his in like that 2010, 2009, 2008. LeBron wasn't that good yet. He was very physically gifted, but he wasn't that skilled yet. Kobe was in his peak powers from an offensive skill set standpoint. He was kicking his ass.
SMT, stick around because, man, that's good stuff. We're going to forget to respond to the first half of what you said. So come back on. We'll keep it moving. One thing that SMT said that I want to touch on, two, maybe even longer, at least 2 years ago, Sports Illustrated came out with an article called Waste Management that was saying exactly what he's saying, claiming that the Lakers were wasting LeBron's last years, when in fact the Lakers were doing everything they could to try and help this dude. And I did a video on it. I recommend it because I really got deep onto that one. And we also saw Rick Bucher who was he talking to, Colin Cowherd. They admitted, like, players are now reduced to trying to help LeBron James. They create a scenario that is going to allow this old man to have a scoring opportunity or to get a rebound. And yes, and he's absolutely right. I liked his opening remark about Anthony Davis. Why are we talking about wasting LeBron? You're wasting Anthony Davis. And maybe the most egregious example was when in the finals in 2020, when AD was the runaway MVP, they went away from AD to help LeBron stats, and they did it again a little bit throughout the in-season tournament. As meaningless as that was, they still did it. And the only thing, the most puzzling part to me is that Anthony Davis is continuing to take abuse every year, and he just doesn't seem, he's either as scared of the LeBron mafia as everyone else, or he actually doesn't care.
Yeah,
Robin.
Anthony Davis. That statement that he came with in the beginning, like you said, he opened up with the Anthony Davis stuff and the wasting LeBron James years. This goes to what everything we've been talking about when we're talking about LeBron James refusing to take a backseat to his teammates, like an Anthony Davis. Just like the NBA refuses to put LeBron James on the back burner to now, like I said, promote the newer era guys coming up. They won't promote these new guys. Every time you turn the damn TV, they're talking about the Lakers. The Lakers are in the 10th seed. What the hell are we talking about the Lakers are for? We should be talking about other up-and-coming talent. We should be talking about the top teams. They should be talking about OKC with SGA. They should have been talking about Luka or Kyrie Irving or Nikola Jokic or the Tatum Brown Celtics or some of the young up-and-coming talent like Therese Halliburton. Some of these other guys, even the Victor Wembanyama's, they won't do this. No one does. And LeBron James will never take a backseat. Like you nailed it right on the head. The 2020 NBA Finals, the 2020 NBA Finals, LeBron James, they played a number 8 seed Miami Heat with injuries all up and down the lineup, and they still win 6 games. Why did they go 6 games? Because like you said, LeBron James sacrificed games for stats. He sacrificed games for stats. So at the end of the day, they could give him that award that we all know he did not deserve. It was Anthony Davis that led team on both sides of the ball. Both sides.
Oh shit, we got Dart waiting and we got Ed waiting, but Hoop God, do you want to say something before I let other people in?
I'm trying to get my technical difficulties. Yeah,
bring Dart on.
All right, before I let Dart in, I also wanted to recognize something. SMT brought up Lakers fans, and Lakers fans listening, I feel your pain. I was going to make a video about what you guys are going through, and I put a post up to get your comments, and I was reading them, and by the time I was done reading them, I was too depressed to work on the project. Man, you guys are going through some fucking hell. You guys are really going through some hell. And the flip side of that is that you also have the people in the Lakers in the auditorium cheering for LeBron, and you have to deal with that crap being right next to you. Let's welcome Dart in. Michael Jordan fans are the best.
Hello, everyone. Michael Jordan fans are the best. I didn't say it like I usually do because Steam Engine gave me crap for it. Anyway, no, I just want to say what's up. And are you guys ready for the Lakers to make another title run this year?
You know that. You know ESPN's going to be promoting it.
LeBron Bronny just got Bronny James. And then they pulled up a bunch of role players that are going to put them over the edge, and they're going to make a title run. So, you guys agree?
I can't keep up with the story. It's all about having superstars, or now it's about not having the role players, or they're not deep enough. I just can't keep up.
Yeah, man, listen, we all know the deal, Dart. This is what we're talking about, man. They're going to promote the Lakers next season, like you said. They're going to promote the LeBron James, Bronny tandem. This is going to be the new Jordan and Pippen. Bron and Bronny Jr., they're going to be promoting this stuff, man, and all this nonsense. The Lakers are going to be talked about, but we all know what's going to happen. If you guys haven't noticed, if you've seen, the in-season tournaments already being set up for the Lakers again. They have one of the weaker pool play brackets again. They put them out there with the other weaker teams, setting up the Lakers to be in a spot where they could maybe make an in-season tournament run and be the back-to-back in-season tournament champions. That will be a feather in LeBron James' GOAT case. I guarantee it, if they were able to pull that off.
That's so fucking dumb. You know, something I wanted to do a video on was whether or not.
That's right, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Was in fact the in-season tournament a success? Because the NBA spent so much money telling people via commercials and interviews and podcasts how successful it was, that I thought, okay, the only reason I think it was successful is because of the amount of money you've spent producing shows telling people that it was successful. I got to wonder how much it cost, painting those stupid ass floors and all the other shit that they did in the commercials, saying with actors and whatever, people pretending like they cared about it. I mean, it must have cost the league a ton just to get people to think that they might care about it.
Yep. Yeah.
Ed.
Yo, this stuff is crazy right now. Like I said, I don't even know. I see some people in the comments. When I said they were going to call LeBron and Bronny Jordan and Pippen, I'm obviously joking, guys. I wasn't being for real about that, man.
Ed, you are on. Ed,
where you at?
Okay, Ed, you are gone. Yes, sir.
Okay.
And wait, when you talk about the courts and all the fancy stuff they did for this in-season tournament, all these things, man, once again, this exposes the LeBron James era. It's a gimmick. The NBA has turned into one big gimmick. This is why they have to have an in-season tournament. They have to have the play-in tournament. They have to have the flopping guidelines. They have to have the load managing guidelines. All of these things have to happen now because the NBA's become a bad product. It's a gimmick now, right? So they're doing all this stuff to get people to what? Come back and watch the game because the game was falling off, man. But they're going to talk about what LeBron James has done for the NBA. Was he done for the game? LeBron James has taken away from the game. He hasn't pushed the game forward. This is part of the reason why the Olympics has been a struggle over the last several seasons. The game was not being pushed forward. The game has regressed.
Hoops God?
Oh, yeah, by far. I mean, if you look at, like, okay, so prime example, when Michael Jordan dominated, what did the league do? They tried to run that offense to do what? Find the next Michael Jordan. That's why they had the Vince Carters, you had the Ray Allens, you had the Kobe Bryants, you had the Tracy McGrady's. Now, let's move on a little further. So then Kobe Bryant established himself as the preeminent player of a decade. And then you get who? You get the Devin Bookers, you get the Luka Doncic, you get the Jason Tatums, you get the Kyrie Irvings, you get the Kawhi Leonards and all those guys. Right now, we're playing in the pace and space in the three-ball shooting area. Well, that's not LeBron James. That's Stephen Curry. So Stephen Curry has pushed the game forward for shooting in an era that allegedly LeBron James is supposed to be dominating. So I always have to ask, where is LeBron James' imprint on the game of basketball besides player movement and super team? Because outside of that, he doesn't have any other imprint on the game. Wait a minute. You had to run from team to team to get four titles, yet Stephen Curry stayed on one and made his franchise a dynasty. I'm lost.
I know what his impact was. The adoption of the gather step phrase, and it applies to 3 steps. You gather for 3 steps before we even fucking start counting.
You're right. Absolutely. Even his fans will argue. You can put a video like my man AOH, the legend, always puts the videotape up, man. You can put the videotape up for these fools, and they'll still say what? Yo, that was a gather step. LeBron James didn't travel. That was a gather step. It's a joke.
Oh, man, I got to cringe. This poor man with the last name LeBron. He's back.
He's back.
He's back.
Yeah, man, I'm back, man. I just... Man, you guys are hitting all the points, man. LeBron has no skills that someone can watch and truly learn from the way you could a Kobe, or even you mentioned Stephen Curry. He's 6'3", point guard. He's got skills that you can actually work on. LeBron's skill is just being big, and the rules have been altered to allow him to travel and, bulldoze his way to the rim. He doesn't have the skill to actually fit into a system. That's the problem. And he's over here, blaming teammates because they're not 100% from the 3-point land, I mean, he's putting his teammates in a tough spot. It's just bailout shots at the end of the shot clock. When he doesn't have a good shot, he's kicking to someone in the corner. It's just not pretty basketball. He can't play in a system. It's not my cup of tea. I like a true 3-level scorer that can score efficiently from all 3 levels, plays defense, and actually puts effort toward the game and getting better year to year. He hasn't changed since he's gotten in the league.
But it has changed the court, it has changed the parks, because I got all these behemoths out there, these dudes that are round, and all they want to say is get in the gym. Too small, get in the gym. And motherfuckers, the game of basketball has become just bowling pins. Just go to another sport, man. Don't ruin the game of basketball.
Basketball is supposed to be, like you said, it's supposed to be style, grace, poetry in motion. That's what we remember about a lot of the great players and the way they played with the grace of basketball. When I was growing up, I remember they used to always say the greatest athletes in the world play in the NBA. And to watch these guys run and jump and stop on a dime and turn this way and turn that way, it's very impressive. But for LeBron James, when you talk about, this guy was on the money when he said that LeBron James doesn't have the skill set to play off the ball to play in a system. That's the problem for LeBron James, man. So all these years you've been in the league, once again, you've never allowed your teammates to help you. He's never allowed them to be in a position where they would be successful finding and having a role.
We have somebody new. I don't recognize this name. Brandon Brotherly Hoops, you are on.
My man, Compare Life, Health, and Dental.
Oh, you changed your name. You changed your screen name.
Salute.
Audio problem.
Yeah, I can't.
Can you hear me?
We can't hear you.
All right.
Okay, yeah.
Can you hear
There
me?
we go. There we
Okay,
go.
sorry about that. Thanks for letting me on briefly. I appreciate it.
You bet.
By the way, great job on the second greatest player of all time debate. I love that. That's actually the real debate, isn't it?
Right.
I think there's maybe as many as
Indeed.
15 players who are eligible for that one, in my opinion. At least that you could have the conversation on. But the reason I was calling in was maybe to request from your vantage point some more articulating on this narrative we've all heard about for years. LeBron's off-the-court purity versus Jordan's. I feel like when they claim that Jordan's defensive player stats are suspect, that same ideology, if you will, also applies to the narrative that Jordan never cared and never gave any money. But when we examine that under scrutiny, the same way we examine Jordan's supposedly fake stats versus LeBron's, it gets exposed just as much and gets totally flipped on its head. Has anyone looked into that a little bit more, and your thoughts?
Yeah. It's in the members section. It's going to go to the public tomorrow.
Really?
All I did was look at the games that were the most recent history for LeBron to find how ridiculous his own defensive stats have been inflated.
Mm-hmm.
And how do I put this? That Habistro guy went and he found select games. It's interesting that I can look at playoff games and find evidence of LeBron James's stats being manipulated. I mean, man, you're not even going to hide this shit during the playoffs. And some people, Johnny Arnett, if anybody has his contact information, I'll invite him to come on next week. Some people are I can already tell from the comments from my members that they think I'm attacking him or that it's an attack on him. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
But
I enjoyed how you went to the most recent games too, by the way. But
well, and I'm looking forward to looking at some of his past games. I got to get the his 2013 season that he was complaining about. But
sure.
Well, I appreciate you being a member. Then,
by the way, I just wanted to, before I let somebody else, I just wanted to say my screen name. It's just easier. I run a business, and I'm not on trying to sell insurance or anything like that. But it's just easier to have to switch out to another, go to another YouTube. That's really what my channel is. I barely use it for that, but it's just easier to cross over when I have my Google ads running. So, I'm glad. Brotherly Hoops is just a self-made name as of today. But anyway, I always enjoy your quality work, every one of you.
Thank you.
Yo,
And
thanks a lot,
I'm glad
man,
you.
for real. I appreciate your support.
I'm glad you changed your name because I was always like, what the fuck does this say?
Yeah, I probably should log out and log into another stream. That's just really just the ease of use. That's the only reason.
I want to say something real quick. What you mentioned about the charity work about Michael Jordan, or the lack of that, people want to try to give Michael Jordan credit for, because you're right on the money with those things. For some reason, Michael Jordan over the last several years, and we all know who it's from, the LeBron James or the media, the people that support him, they try to make it seem as if Michael Jordan is some callous, self-centered person who doesn't do anything. Michael Jordan does a lot of things. The difference and the main difference between Michael Jordan or someone like Michael Jordan and someone like LeBron James, Michael Jordan does not seek the attention for the things that he does. He never seeks the attention. Michael Jordan used to do things in the 80s and the 90s, and he never wanted publicity around. He didn't want cameras around. He didn't want these things to be talked about in the press. Sometimes these things were leaked out and people found out about some of the nice things that Michael Jordan did. But if you guys recall, I believe it was just last season, Michael Jordan donated to the Make-A-Wish Foundation a record amount of money. People don't know. To this day, no one has donated more money than Michael Jordan to the Make-A-Wish Foundation, man. Michael Jordan. But does Michael Jordan hype this up? Does he tweet this stuff all over the place? No, he doesn't. Michael Jordan just recently opened up his second hospital, another hospital for people who need that kind of help, that don't have insurance. You're the insurance guy, man.
Right.
So once again, Michael Jordan also, when he was the owner of the Charlotte Hornets, he employed many, many people of color for that organization, man. So when I hear people try to say, oh, Michael Jordan doesn't do things for the black people or for the community, and they try to make it about his politics, it's complete false, man. Michael Jordan knew who he was and who he wasn't. And Michael Jordan never said things he didn't mean. And you know what I'm saying? Like today, what will LeBron James do? He'll say something and then delete the tweet because he doesn't stand on anything. Michael Jordan's not fake reading books. He's not faking that he got vandalized with some racial things on his fence that there's no evidence for. Michael Jordan did a lot of things for a lot of people, man. And unfortunately, they're trying to tear down Michael Jordan with the nonsense. But we all know the truth, man.
Yeah. What?
Can y'all hear me?
And it sounds like he's ducked out from his chair from the Akron school too. It's hasn't been supporting it like he promised to. Another interesting, if you get a chance, that that Jordan ran that golf charity in I think it's still going, earning millions every year. Interesting fact, he and Tom Brady played together in 2006 and won the tournament. Made a lot of money. That video should probably have 1 billion views, but I think it has like 5,000.
Hey, self-researched NBA facts. I see you in the waiting room. I am going to let you in.
A lot. Have a great
thank
day.
you.
Lot, man.
No. Wait. I had one thing. So I wanted to. So what you mentioned, no, that's very integral. The reason why, if you guys go to YouTube and type in Larry Miller, an ex-convict who was wrongly convicted, Michael Jordan actually hired him onto the Jordan brand. But I'll go further. Michael Jordan has over 80% of African Americans hired at the Jordan brand, from CEO on down to the bottom. Like Sports and Fitness Ranting said, Michael Jordan does not broadcast what he does because he was raised a certain way. You don't do things for public consumption. You do it out of the kindness of your heart. But we know LeBron James has to do everything to grandstand because he has to be self-aggrandized. He wants cameras everywhere so he can say, hey, look at me. And that's why he is not getting the proper praise and adulation, because everything he's doing is not authentic. But I'm glad you brought that up.
And I'm going to chime in with a childhood story that makes me think about that. I was really raised in a conservative religious household, and we went to church, and you're supposed to tithe. You're supposed to give to the Lord and he'll give back. And as a kid, I had to earn an allowance from a very, actually I had to work for it, and I didn't get paid very much. So putting something in the offering plate was a big deal. It was a big deal. And I remember wanting people to see me put it in. And guess who it was that said, don't act that way? Dad, somebody that LeBron didn't have.
Your
it's
father,
like, you don't, he said, the only person that matters is that God knows you did it. Don't do it for people. Don't do it for public display. And it's a time. We don't have to limit that to a religious experience. It's how you're raised. You don't do it for public appearance. Do it because it's the right thing to do. Michael Jordan.
You just made me think about that episode of Seinfeld where George Costanza wanted the guy at the pizza shop to see him putting the tip in the tip jar. So he kept putting the tip in there, and the guy never saw him do it. So he thought that the guy was not seeing him or realizing he was tipping him. So what did he do? He went at one point and put his hand to get the money back out so he could put it back in when he was looking, and the guy thought he was stealing the money. So like you said, instead of just being satisfied with the fact that you actually gave a tip, you gave that money. He wanted to be recognized for it.
Self-researched. You're on.
All right, had a bad connection or something. Anyway, how you guys doing? What's up, fellas?
What's up, man?
Hey, I was just going to talk about one thing. It's always kind of bothered me, and I saw it again recently, and that's the narrative that you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Everyone except for the old man in the corner. God damn it.
Okay. The old narrative that Jordan never beat Kareem or Larry Bird. So going back to 1991, the Bulls' first championship, the Celtics were actually the number 2 seed that year. They were they won 56 games. Bird was broken down. He only averaged like 15 points in the 2 rounds of the playoffs he won. So what people like Isaiah Thomas and these Jordan haters say is if Jordan would have beat a broken down Larry Bird that year, that would have enhanced his legacy. And the other thing is he didn't beat the Showtime Lakers. So if Kareem Abdul-Jabbar would have hung on another 2 years at 44 years old for Jordan to beat him, that would have enhanced his legacy. I find it ridiculous, stupid, and obviously you know what they're trying to do. What do you guys say?
Well, we can't fall into those traps, because if he had beaten them, then they would just immediately go and look at their age and say it didn't mean anything because of the age. And if a team's too young, then the team's too young. So, I mean, they'll just keep going in circles at some point. I mean, I appreciate all of your points. You're spot on, but man, it just leads to the next excuse that they're going to make.
No, Jim,
no, you're right. The whole that they only beat them when they were old thing and all that. Yeah, it's ridiculous. And I don't even think people realize, but the Showtime Lakers, the leading scorer on that team, it was not Kareem. It was not Magic. It wasn't even Worthy. It was Byron Scott was the leading scorer. And he played against all those guys, Byron Scott, Worthy, Michael Thompson, Magic. I mean, the whole team was there, but Vlade Divac instead of Kareem. To me, the 91 Lakers were better than the 89 Lakers, in my opinion.
Yo, Jim, listen, man, you always come with the facts. That's why the facts is in your name. And when we think about the Lakers, let's think about the 1991 Lakers. And when people try to say they weren't the quote-unquote Showtime Lakers, the 91 Lakers were a very formidable team. Like you said, Vlade Divac in the NBA Finals was giving the Bulls problems. They could not. Bill Cartwright and Will Perdue, they had no answer for Vlade Divac. Vlade Divac was averaging a double-double in the NBA Finals, man. This was a young Vlade Divac, and he had some skills. He wasn't some bum. And when we think about the Lakers in 91, you have prime Magic Johnson still. Like you mentioned, you still have Byron Scott. You still have James Worthy. You have AC Green there. You have some quality players. And once again, they beat the number 1 seeded Portland Trailblazers in the Western Conference Finals to go to the finals that year. The Lakers were a very good team. Once again, Michael Jordan always held to a higher standard than any other player in the NBA's history. No other players held to this same standard, man. And when we think about Larry Bird, and you say that people say, oh, he didn't beat Larry Bird. He beat the hell out of Larry Bird when he was on the 84 Olympic team. They were beating the hell out of the NBA players, and Larry Bird was there.
Hoops got?
No, exactly right. Hey, did any of you guys catch my debate on Saturday? What do you guys think of that controversy?
Go ahead, who got?
Hey, let me say first and foremost, bro, I sincerely appreciate how you defended Bill Russell. I mean, you hit on every point. You even brought up some points that I didn't even have with Bill Russell, because I also had a debate against a guy who was debating against Shaq. But no, you articulated that perfectly. Like, I didn't see any flaws whatsoever.
Yeah, did you hear about the voting afterwards, all that stuff?
No.
Yeah, Jim, yo, listen, man, once again, this is what they do. And this is what I told Dart about a lot of someone like an FYF channel. They try to manipulate these things, these bigger channels, and this is where they expose themselves. They can't stand on anything, man. Once again, Jim, you did the thing, man, and that whole thing is once again, it's a damn shame that they try to do that. They try to, bot the whole voting system up and everything.
We got someone called with Lerv waiting. Did you guys finish your thoughts before I let someone else in?
Why don't we there's some fool in the comment section talking trash. Hey, anybody that want to run their mouth, call up. Stop talking trash in the comments and call the hell up, man, and talk to us. Don't be scared of the comments.
Hey, Robin, does it let you click on comments?
I'm doing this off my cell phone airway, so I'm very limited in what I have access to do.
Okay.
Hey, am I better now that I'm closer to my relatives?
Yes, I think you're a little better. With Lerv, you got anything to say about cocaine or Bronny or the LeBron Mafia or something else?
Yes, I do. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
All right, man. I'm just for context. I just turned 50, so I saw Jordan from beginning to end. Okay, and no one has come since then has matched him. It's not even close. I just laugh when people try to debate me, but I do like what you guys are doing. I enjoy it because I'm glad somebody is saying these things. But we know what the truth is right there, and I give that as a context. I just want to make 2 quick points there. I saw somebody in the comments there say something like, "If Bronny was 6'9" like his daddy, he would be a problem." And I think that would expose LeBron because LeBron cannot, like you say, don't have any skills. He's just big and can bumble to the basket. I think Bronny would be able to do the same thing if he had a larger body. I think that he would look more successful.
Know what I can do? Do you guys know what I could do if I was 7 feet tall, pure muscle, and I had a 50-inch vertical? Let me tell you what I could do. Fucking woulda, shoulda, coulda society. Just stupid.
And only other, that's it, man. That's all they can do. And the other point I wanted to make really quickly was I've heard you guys and some other people who are talking about Jordan like I do. They'll say his game was pretty. It looked good. And then the comeback will usually be something like, yes, well, you're just saying that he's good because it looks good. That doesn't mean it actually is good. I'm saying it's good because he accomplished what he wanted to do. He got the job done. That's why it looks good. It's not just because it looks pretty. That's what they don't understand that.
No, he got the job done and it looked pretty. There's nothing wrong with looking
That's
pretty.
right.
Yeah, like you said, man, it's not the flash of Michael Jordan, it's the substance of Michael Jordan. Man, Vince Carter looked pretty too, but he's nowhere near Michael Jordan.
That's it. That's all I wanted to say, fellas, man. I enjoy you.
Yo, thank you for your support, man. Thanks for calling up.
Yeah, thanks for calling in. Hoop God, we still having some problems over there?
Yeah, I'm trying to get my headphones so I can drown out some of this background noise.
SMT, are you really still waiting in the waiting room?
Yeah, there's one more thing I wanted to speak to you guys about.
You are one patient man. You are one patient man.
Yeah, and you know what? I like listening because you got to remember, like, I'm a big Bron fan, so I take in all this stuff all the time, and I just listen because, and that might be part of the problem with some of the fans that you guys have, problems with, is the fact that they're not listening to you. They don't hear what you have to say. They just want to start, rapid fire defending. All right, so my biggest critique of LeBron has to be the fact that he has been uncoachable for the large duration of his career. I think he left off a lot of potential. Personally, I think he could have 6, if not 7 rings if he chose certain destinations with certain coaches. For example, let's say he went to Chicago instead of Miami. He was going to go to a team that was going to be elite defensively and elite offensively, and he was going to be a plus onto that team because he was going as a free agent. He had elite defenders to support him there, and he had an MVP in Derrick Rose, Luol Deng, who was actually higher ranked than LeBron was for 1 year where they were both in high school. There was so much talent there, and Tom Thibodeau would have held him accountable every step of the way. So I think he probably would have won 4 or 5 rings there instead of 2 in Miami. You see what I'm saying? Or let's say he detoured and went to San Antonio, and went to Greg Popovich. And his entire decade that he spent from 2010 to 2020 of the 2 rings Miami, the 1 in Cleveland, I think he wins 6 or 7 rings in San Antonio because they had players and he would have been a plus with a coach that would help him level up on different types of things. So the accountability goes into a lot of things in basketball. He wouldn't be blaming his teammates. He wouldn't be, ghosting them. He wouldn't be, just having that whole toxic aura that people speak of and this pressure. Like, he wouldn't be doing that in San Antonio because he would have been a different person. He would have been a different player. He would have become more like Tim Duncan. He would have become more like Manu Ginobili. If you're more selfless in that position, you can do more. You can get more out of these other guys. And I think what we saw with LeBron's career, he turned like one-dimensional players into seemingly guys who could do more than they actually could. So like Wally Zerbiak looked good next to LeBron, catch and shoot threes. But anybody who was multi-dimensional got downgraded because they couldn't do the things that made them great. D Wade got downgraded next to LeBron. Chris Bosh got downgraded next to LeBron. Kyrie and even Kevin Love got downgraded in those elements of their game because they had to, let him do his thing, dictate the offensive flow where the ball was going. Popovich, Thibodeau, these guys could have helped him see the game differently. LeBron sees this game the same way today that he did 5 years ago, that he did 10 years ago.
I'm cutting you just because you're making so many good points. I have to cut you off and then pop back in a minute. It's interesting. It's nice to have somebody like SMT. By the way, can I call you something other than SMT? I need to find out what your name is, but it's interesting to see these LeBron guys, LeBron fans who have this perspective because you can learn a lot from it. One of the topics I was going to bring up for today was, isn't it a miracle how all the stars aligned for Michael Jordan? He had the best GM. He had the best head coach. He had the best teammate in Scottie Pippen. What SMT is saying is making me think about, at some point you have to understand that it's the person that has that success around them that's causing it. And you can't expect to have that success if you're looking for the shortcuts. LeBron James didn't get to stick with Eric Spoelstra because of his own fault, and LeBron James didn't want accountability. LeBron James didn't want, look what he tried to do to Spoelstra when Spoelstra had the nerve to step up to him. Do you think he wanted to go and deal with that in San Antonio? He would not have meshed. He would not have meshed with the coaching style there, in my opinion. And too much success, too young, not enough self-awareness to understand that he should sacrifice or be willing to put the ego in check for a little bit. And I think SMT kind of alluded to that, and is like, he could have had more success if he had been willing to play this role or that role. He didn't ever want to play that role. He didn't.
Listen, I'm sorry, Wade. When he was talking, I was a little bit confused of how he could really consider himself a LeBron James fan and say all these things that he's been saying. But when we think about him bringing up the Chicago Bulls, for example, let's think about this and be real here. He's not going to go to Chicago because who played in Chicago? Michael Jordan played in Chicago. So if he went to Chicago, he would have to live up to the standard and the legacy of Michael Jordan on Chicago. Number one, he wouldn't be able to wear number 23 in Chicago for the same reason that he couldn't wear number 23 in Miami. A lot of people don't realize Michael Jordan's number 23 is retired by the Miami Heat and Pat Riley. That's why he had to change to number 6 in Miami. And when he brings the San Antonio Spurs, once again, it makes me scratch my head because he didn't even want to listen to a low or newer coach like Eric Spoelstra. You think he's going to go to San Antonio and be coached by Greg Popovich and the strictness or the disciplinarian that was Greg Popovich, the military man, with all that? He's going to hold LeBron James to a standard. LeBron James doesn't want to be held to a standard. He doesn't want to be forced to practice. He doesn't want to be forced to take accountability and responsibility. He doesn't really want to be a true leader. So why would he go to the San Antonio Spurs? The only place that LeBron James could have went that would have made him look like a complete retard would have been the New York Knicks. He should have went to the lowly New York Knicks with nobody there. That's where he should have went and turned the New York Knicks franchise into a winner. That would have been his only move. Or he could have stayed his butt in Cleveland, worked on his game, got some people around him and made them better. When he brought up Wally Zerbiak looked pretty damn good next to Kevin Garnett and those Minnesota Timberwolves in the early 2000s and stuff, man. So let's not shortchange some of these players once again and pump them up like LeBron James made them something they're not. I just don't see how LeBron James would go to any of those teams because, like he said, he's not coachable. So why the hell would he go to a team like a Thibodeau or a Greg Popovich? It's the same scenario when you hear LeBron James fans trying to tell you that LeBron James could easily play in the 80s or the 90s. I say, how could you make that statement? There's been no evidence to support LeBron James being able to play in the 80s and the 90s with that physical style of play. He lacks the fundamentals. He lacks the post game. He has no mid-range shot. He doesn't have a go-to move. He can't play all ball. I mean, all of these things, he's soft, right? You can't be flopping in the 80s and the 90s, so I don't know what people say he could play in any era. He wouldn't be able to.
Guys, we have Uncommon Sense in the waiting room, so we're going to bring him in pretty quick. SMT, you brought up so many good points that we are going to come back to you. And Robin brought up one that I want to talk about is at what point are you not going to be a LeBron guy? Are there enough things LeBron? No, seriously, is there any point? Are there enough things LeBron James can do that are embarrassing that you're finally like, okay, I'm not a LeBron guy? And it's just looking back on the past. You're like, I enjoyed this period of time, but I can no longer call myself a LeBron guy. Hoop God, I got to give you a chance to talk, or can I bring in Uncommon?
You can bring Uncommon in.
Oh man, I need the music. Shit, I want the music. Welcome to the show, Uncommon Sense.
What's going on? What's going on?
What up, Uncommon? Good to see you, man. Good to hear from you.
Not much. How you doing?
Hey, wait.
So
Uncommon, I got a special request. You got I got a special request. Hey, you gotta say say the LeBron phase at the
Which one? Fanboys, we hope your day is going terrible.
Yes.
We hope your day is going horrible.
Hey, did you have anything specific to add to what we've been talking about today, or are you just popping in?
Well, I kind of just popped in. I think I popped in when you were kind of talking about, or someone was talking about the whole charity work, about how Michael Jordan goes about it versus LeBron. But I actually wanted to get in because I wanted to get you all's thoughts because I'm getting ready to do a video talking about and I actually left a comment in the chat. But so the more I watch how LeBron James is going about his career, I actually believe that LeBron James never actually wanted to be a great player like Michael Jordan. I actually believe he only wanted the praise that Michael Jordan got, because that's the only way you can explain the things that he does. I mean, this whole media pressure, it's like we've been seeing all the things going with LeBron James fans becoming unhinged lately, and the whole Dreamers Pro death threat, and pretty much trying to force you to agree with how they see LeBron. And to me, the more I think about this thing, it's like he's more concerned with how people sees him and with people seeing him great than actually being able to say, like, I am a great basketball player like Michael Jordan. I was watching this series about Magic and Bird last night, and just reiterating, I feel like I talk about the competitive about Larry Bird a lot, but both Magic Johnson and Larry Bird had that competitiveness. And then I got to thinking more about, they try to compare LeBron James to Magic Johnson a lot. But I'm like, when you just look at the basic mentality behind this guy, like, he is nowhere near in the realm of any of these players. And so, yeah, it just got me thinking, I'm not sure if LeBron, and then you guys were just talking about the whole coaching thing. It's like he seems to do everything the opposite of the narratives that he puts out. It's like you complain about not having a coach, but you haven't stayed with any of your great coaches. You know, you complain about not having, and then to top it off is like, okay, you complain about not having a great coach your whole career, and then JJ Redick is the coach of the Lakers now. Like, what sense does that really make?
Sad.
You know, complain about the players that you don't have, yet it seems that you do things opposite of these narratives. That so it just led me to the conclusion. I don't think LeBron James actually ever wanted to be a great basketball player by the skill and competitive metrics. He simply wanted to convince people without putting in the work that he was that great so he could get the praise and adulation of a player who was great.
Uncommon, did he even have the period of time and life required to mature to where he thought carefully about what it means to be a great player or what he wanted to be, a vision for himself? Because he's getting all this press and, hey, my life is going to be great at such a young age and just surrounded by microphones. Did he, and everybody's already calling him the greatest before he's done anything. Did he even have time to think for himself, what does it mean to be the greatest and what vision do I want for myself? Or he's already going. He's already on that road.
And I agree with that. I'm not sure he had time to even think about that. But, you know, I think more importantly, this was a seed that if the way LeBron James came up, partly because of just who he is as a person. I think it's partly who you are as a person and partly how you grew up, you know, that he just never had it in him to be that kind of great player. Like, it is just not part of his DNA to me to be like, he's part of this whole manifest destiny, you know, this manifesting things type of mentality that a lot of people have in today's age where, oh, speak it into an existence. And if you say it, it must be true. But, you know, it's like, yeah, I just don't think it. And I think on top of that, like you said, him coming into the league with all this praise from the beginning, him getting this from high school, it really just kind of, you know, reaffirmed a lot of character traits that I think was there to begin with.
Yo, Uncommon, man. Yo, you always come with the stuff, man. You made a great point right now, man. I never thought thought about it like this, but I think you're right on the money. I would definitely believe that LeBron James is chasing Michael Jordan's fame. He's chasing the fame. He's not chasing the on-court game. So like you said, he wasn't going to go to the lab and be like, hey, I got to develop a go-to move like Michael Jordan in the clutch. I got to develop my handle. I got to be able to make these free throws when it matters most. I have to learn to galvanize my teammates. He didn't worry about any of that stuff, making his coaches better, none of this stuff. He's chasing Michael Jordan's celebrity because he really believes that Michael Jordan is just built off the flash and the pizzazz. When Michael Jordan was built off what? The fire, the competitiveness, going through that grind like you said. You know, you made a great point in one of your videos that I watched the other day. You talked about Kobe Bryant chasing Michael Jordan's greatness. And you talked about how Michael Jordan was always chasing the winning and that there was a slight difference there. And I think you're on the money with that. The difference, though, with Kobe Bryant and LeBron James is that Kobe Bryant worked on his actual game. You're right. I think you're right. I think LeBron James has always been chasing Michael Jordan's celebrity. And what we can see, he's nowhere close to the celebrity of Michael Jordan because Michael Jordan was more than just flash and all this stuff. That's why his sneakers sold. His sneakers were sold off the on-court game of Michael Jordan, not off the hype.
Yeah.
Oops, God.
And I would even.
Yeah. So to follow up what Uncommon Sense, I mean, that when you look at it now in retrospect, that's exactly like that was the perfect illustration because he has to go out and do all these things strategically to try to get the same praise that Michael Jordan got. Prime example, out of all the other all-time greats, how many of them had to ask for their respect? And Sporting and Fitness Rants, I want to salute you because you were making a montage of all the guys that won and said they never asked for their respect. Now, when I see that's telling me subconsciously, you know, you've cheated. So now you want to put this out into the atmosphere that you want your respect. But no, when you do not take the stairs to success, you get in there and you take an elevator. Well, no, you're not going to be viewed in the same light as those guys. That's why he's never going to be better than a Kobe Bryant, a Larry Bird, a Magic Johnson, a Tim Duncan, Hakeem, all those guys. Like, no, you're not going to be better than them. because they were able to do it the traditional way. And now they can sit in that room with the guys who done it the right way. See, when you have to fast track yourself to rings and fame and all this, no, people are going to look back and say, no, you didn't do it the way those guys did. So you can't sit at that table with them. But you can be the doorman, but no, you can't sit at the table. But yeah, he ultimately wants the fame. It's not about the results, right? That's where I highly respect Kobe, because Michael Jordan, he said it in his I think I might have made it look easy when you see the highlights in the flash, but you don't see the work he put in practice. And that was the blueprint that Kobe Bryant followed. So yeah, Uncommon, I agree with you 1,000%, man. Keep putting out that great content, brother.
I appreciate it. But one more thing I wanted to bring up, and to me, the other thing is, as a competitor, like, for instance, I just recently saw something with Dominique Wilkins saying that Jordan came up and admitted to him that, I can't remember which dunk contest it was, but Jordan won it. And Dominique said recently Jordan admitted to him, he was like, Dominique, I think you should have won that. I think you should have won that contest. Now, to me, that goes to show you that a real competitor knows within themselves if they have beat you at your best, so to speak, or if they actually deserve to beat you. So for LeBron James to do all these things, the super teams and whatnot, to me, that is a real, like, it would bother me if I knew that I had an advantage against other players. Like, as a competitor, I would always feel like, yeah, I beat you, but I really didn't beat you, though. Like, I really didn't beat you, like, in the most fair of circumstances. And again, to me, for LeBron James to not only be seeking this praise and doing all these things to try to get the, like, to me, that is just a real character flaw. It shows you how uncompetitive this guy is. I mean, this guy literally ruined what we knew as being competitive in the NBA, because they made him the face of the NBA. And so a lot of players follow this example that he's, not participating in a dunk contest and all these things that they make excuses for, when at the end of the day, to me, it just comes down to one thing. Like, you are not that competitive, and you are not looking for every chance you have to show that you're better than someone in something, so yeah.
Well, we talk about LeBron's insecure behavior. He shows his inner insecurities, and you don't behave that way unless you don't truly believe in your own accomplishments. Now, if you've accomplished so much and have confidence in yourself the way Michael Jordan does, you don't have a problem going and complimenting somebody or saying, "Yeah, man, you should have won that." But if you don't believe in yourself, then you need every edge that you think is out there. It's like, well, I can't admit that this guy beat me at this or was better than me at this, because I need every favor I can get stacked in my corner, because I don't truly believe in my own accomplishments.
Yeah, you're talking about the 1988 slam dunk contest in Chicago, Uncommon, and I've heard that same thing. And the cool thing about Dominique Wilkins and Michael Jordan, the dynamic between them, is I remember listening to them speak about the slam dunk contest, and they both said the same things. They went out there on the slam dunk contest stage. They didn't rehearse these dunks beforehand. They didn't practice these things. They let their, their imagination, their creativity take over. I remember Michael Jordan always talking about that. That was really, like, when I heard that, man, that really was special to me, man. And when you talk about the slam dunk contest, LeBron James still, to this day, has never even done the slam dunk contest. This is how afraid he was. So that's another thing that exposes him as, not being a true competitor and not wanting to put himself on that stage.
And this witch hunt, if it's reasonable, we'll pay.
Who do I hear? Hey, Timbo Slice, I saw you in the waiting room. We will let you on in a second. Uncommon, thank you so much for popping in.
I appreciate it.
Salute, brother. Salute, Uncommon.
Yo, Uncommon, you
salute to all of you guys.
We hope to have you back, man.
All right. Appreciate it. Y'all take it easy.
You too.
Indeed.
Yo, AOH, man, how long you gonna run this thing? I got maybe a little bit longer.
Yeah, I'm about to piss my pants. I'm gonna have to run out of here. So I'll take that. Yeah, we'll wrap it up. good show. Thanks for being here, Hoops God. Thanks for being here, Sports and Fitness Rants. For those
Yeah,
of you
I
who,
apologize about the punctuality.
For those of you who are calling in or tried to call in and then didn't get on, sorry. We try to get as many callers on here as we can. Friday, I'm going to stream and read all the live chats that I missed today. So thank you
Good
guys.
idea.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to join me?
On Friday?
Yeah.
Oh,
What time are you talking about?
I don't know yet.
Well, let me know. Email me. We'll see.
Okay. Yeah, thanks, gentlemen. And
I want to thank everybody in the chat, man. I want to thank my man Hoop God for coming through. AOH, once again, I love working with you, man. Shout out to Uncommon Sense for coming through. Shout out to Phenomenal Fitness in the chat. I saw him come through. Shout out to Ocean Pilot. I believe he gave me a salute and thanked me for my service in the military. No, thank you. So to everybody, like I said, that's been donating to our channel, supporting our channels, thank you to all you guys out there. Once again, guys, I had a great time, man. Thank you.
yes, indeed, man. I appreciate you guys having me on. Anytime we can talk good basketball and dialogue on the truth and not these narratives, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Y'all know my motto, man. It's imperative that we destroy these narratives, and that's what we're doing with every episode.
oh yeah, if you guys hear from Johnny Arnett, tell him to contact me. I'm going to let him come on here and defend himself in case people think that my video is an attack on him.
Oh yeah.
All right, guys.
Definitely.
Thanks a lot.
I'll
We'll
see
see
you
you next